loaded up my 120 and I shot a roll 120 and I sent it out to the developer. And the first roll was kind of so-so, and they made some prints for me, and I didn't really like it. And then as things went on, I kept looking at the prints that were being made, and I said, well, that's really not what I have in mind. And so my friend said, Jim, it's real easy to do. Develop your own film, make your own prints. It's not that hard. So anyhow, he got me started on doing a lot of my own work. And probably about 5 years ago now, I was up at Yosemite, and I had my 4x5 set up, and another fella had his 4x5 set up, and we're at Inspiration Point at Tunnel View. And it was a beautiful afternoon, great, you can't go wrong. I mean, you've got El Capitan, you've got Half Dome, you've got that beautiful vista. And there's a guy down about where my 11x14 is, and he's got an 8x10 camera. And I'm looking at it, and he goes, don't look in there. You don't want to look in there. You don't want to look in there. And he kept telling me I can't look in there. So I went, and he literally was pushing me away. He's like, no, you can't look. So I said, yeah, I have to look. He said, no, you don't want to. We argued for a little longer, and I came and I pulled a dark cloth over my head. And I stood back and I said, my God, I said, this is like a TV screen. You got to be kidding me. I said, this is amazing. So he just started shaking his head. He goes, oh, no, I was afraid of this. So I went out and I bought an 8x10. Actually, I bought a Seneca improved 8x10 camera. It was built in 1904. It's a great camera. Lightweight. I can set my 8x10 up like that. It's just, I don't even think about it. People say, well, large format's real slow, it's real involved, and you have to think. It's like, no, that's not true. It's like, I find something that I have a vision for, and I know where to set up, I know what lens length I need to use, and I'm set up and I'm doing my thing, and not even thinking about how long it takes. It may take me a minute to set my 8x10 up. It's really quick. So I got into the 8x10 and started making some silver prints. And I'd always been fascinated by the 8x20 panoramic format. And I had seen a couple of prints, and I thought, God, that'd be nice to have, but I can't afford it. $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 cameras, so I'll never have one. And so what happened is I like to build things, and long story short, I was on a forum, and a guy told me I couldn't build an 8x20 camera without a machine shop. And I said, well, how did they do it in the 1800s? They made these cameras in the 1800s, 1860s, 1880s, 1890s. They didn't have a machine shop. They had some tools and stuff, but they were craftsmen. So I thought, okay, I can do this. So it took me a year and a half to build my first camera, which was an 8x20. I built a tripod for it also. And I went out, and the first time I used it was at one of Per's workshops up in the Owens Valley. I had spent a year and a half building this camera. I had a fellow make the bellows for me, Western bellows out in Rancho Cucamonga. I picked the bellows up the night before we were going on the trip. I put the bellows on in the morning as I was leaving. I didn't know whether the camera worked or not. I took it out. Anyhow, I found out the camera worked beautifully. And then I'd always liked 11x14 image size, so I thought, well, heck, I made one camera. The second one's going to be easier, so I made the 11x14. Real quickly, this is something I made with hand tools and a Dremel in my apartment. At the time, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment, and I carved and I cut all of this with hand tools and my Dremel, and the metal and everything I pretty much fabricated myself based on a design of another camera. I just made it bigger. There were some mistakes that I made, and I had to make some adjustments, but the bottom line is the thing works. And that's just a tool. That's just what I like to do. That's just me, and that's something I was passionate about making. Um, but that was just a means to the end. And whenever I go out in the field, and I'm out looking for images, and part of what I really love is when I go out, there's things I have in my head that I've seen. There's ideas, there's images I've seen in my head. And when I find them out in the field, it's, you could talk to me and I could answer you, but I'm not there. I am focused on an image like this. This is up in Los Osos Oaks, up in San Luis Obispo. And when I walked into this forest, this tree talked to me. This tree was literally alive. When I walked into the forest, I saw this tree, and I put my gear down, and I walked up to the tree, and I stood there for a few minutes, and I put my hand on it, and I got permission to photograph it. Because when you see this tree in real life, this tree looks like it's alive. It looks like it will come out and grab you. I wouldn't want to be in this forest in the dark because it's kind of a scary place. But the image was so powerful. When I saw it, I knew exactly where I was going to set up. I knew exactly what lens I was going to use. And I knew exactly what I was going to get when it came to printing. And I think as photographic artists, I think as you evolve, you start to see things. We see things that normal people don't see. You see images in carpet. You see images in reflections. You see images in patterns that are shadows on walls that most people walk by and they don't see. And today I stopped to get some coffee, and the rain had let up, and if I would have had a film holder, I might have been late because there was an image that was really powerful of some patterns in the trees that were getting hit by the sun, and it was spectacular. But there was no way I would have been able to break this out and set it up before the light changed. So if I had a digital camera, I would have got that image. But I don't own a digital camera. Here's my digital camera. I forget that I have this, and there's a lot of times I need to use this to record some things. But for me, it's in here. That image is in here. So it goes into my memory. And when I am out in the field again, that vision is in my head. And I'm going to find that image somewhere else. It may be 2 years from now, it may be 3 years from now. And I'll find that image. So when you see things, maybe you can't photograph it. Maybe you miss it. Maybe you get set up and the light goes. And you can't capture that image. It doesn't matter. You have it here. You'll never forget it. I think I told you this story.